Hey all, I'm Max. I'm going to be presenting Asymptotic JavaScript.
That's how you pronounce it?
Esoteric, Asymptotic, whatever you want to call it. There's no real, and there probably is a correct way, but I'm not saying it. So, who am I? Just like a brief presentation, because I have never presented before. It's up there, but you all probably don't know me. I'm a second year CSEC. I'm actually the junior tech lead next year. And most importantly, as you'll find out, I'm a JavaScript hater, as I hope many of you are.
You actually never presented?
No, this is my first presentation. Yeah, so basis of what everything we're going to be talking about is type coercion. This is basically JavaScript's way of handling when two variables with different types are either added together. Yeah, it's mainly when it's added together. Basically, this is the quirkiness of JavaScript. This is why everyone doesn't like it. This is the entire basis of my presentation, as you'll soon find out. And you can see some examples like 3 plus the string 7, it's now 37. And there's also this weird thing where 1 is less than 2 is less than 3. Correct, but 3 is greater than 2 is greater than 1. Not correct, because what it does is it changes 3 is greater than 2 to the expression true, and then true becomes 1, and 1 is not greater than 1. So a lot of weird funkiness there. And next we're going to go into that other merging of what we're going to be talking about, an esoteric language. So what is one? This is just it's a language designed to be either annoying, funny, weird, whatever you want. A lot of them are designed to be jokes. So popular ones, which some of them will look pretty similar, mainly the one that starts with brain. We also have Piet, whitespace, which whitespace is entirely written in spaces, tabs, and new line characters. So whenever you type anything, you don't see anything. Real fun there. And Malbaj, which literally is, I think it's named after like the 8th circle of hell or something. It's basically made to be as confusing as possible. So how do we use type coercion to make an esoteric language, whatever loud you want to call it? So first we need to start off with our numbers. JavaScript's got a real weird way of type coercion. So if you convert an empty array to a number using the plus, you can get 0. So you do that, but then you say not, so we're making into Boolean, which now we're saying 0 is false. Now we make it true, we now have 1. We have 0 and 1, and this will be the basis of pretty much a lot we're going to be doing. So now, how do we get bigger numbers? Okay, well, we know how to do that. We went to first grade. It took me 3 times, but we know how to use plus. So now we have everything from 2 to 9. We have the digits for which everything is based on. And then furthering on numbers, I don't know about you, but when I want to express some large number, I don't want to just write 1 like 400 times. So we can actually convert them to strings first. So converting to strings, you're basically taking an array, adding it to something else, and you convert it to a string. Another thing you have to realize, you also have to encapsulate the entire thing in parentheses in order to be valid. So anything, it's array plus parentheses, whatever you want. And now you can express 100 in like 10, 15 characters instead of probably like 300. And to get it back from that string, well, like we did before, plus and encapsulate it in those parentheses. So now we got really weird ways of expressing numbers. So what? That's not JavaScript. Now we get onto characters. We use the built-in names of like true, false. We'll get into not in numbers, stuff like that. So we can take those strings, or we can take those objects, convert them to strings, and then index them using the indexing or like the array operator, whatever you want to call it. So now we have the ability to express just some true and false, like FALSETRU. You can't do much with it right now, but we can go a lot further. So moving forward, we also have things like infinity, object, not a number, which not a number is just whatever it returns when well, you mess up somehow, unless you're me and want to do it on purpose. So now we have all these numbers, but sometimes it doesn't exactly, or characters, not numbers. Sometimes it doesn't work out what you want, and there's other implicit types that just won't concatenate to strings. And we'll handle this a little bit later so we can get more characters. But right now, the most important part is just gathering as much as we can right now. So we see like that function anonymous. We can't directly just change it to function anonymous. It just returns exactly what we put in. So we keep gathering characters. We have all those. And now we can finally make strings. Well, in JavaScript, characters are strings, but I think you all know what I'm talking about. So same thing with numbers, how we did it with numbers. We just add a plus between them, and if you recognize and you're good at anagrams, all our characters, we had R-I-T-S-E-C. Now we can write R-I-T-sec in the worst way possible. Another important thing that we were able to spell, constructor. So this is going to allow us to take a function and get the actual constructor for that function. This allows us to get a ton of more letters, which is going to get us to our end goal of being able to express anything in just these funky characters. So, what? Well, apparently my one of my slides got deleted, but we'll talk about it here. So execution works in a weird way. So you're able to create that anonymous function like you can see at the bottom left encapsulating our final code into that will run it. So adding that, checking for the instance of constructor with the string inside any function will return a more preliminary function, which then you can concatenate to a string. And this allows us to get stuff like the capital C, stuff like that. Our ultimate goal, which was in the file or on the slide that was apparently deleted, is to get this function called fromCharCode. This allows us to express any character we want with just an ASCII code or a UTF code. I forget which exactly it uses. So now that we know exactly how to get any character we want from that. So how do we actually, oh, another thing that you want, that you can look at my code. I linked my GitHub on the slides. Another thing we can do is we can get any single lowercase character. This is just from like how we do a hexadecimal where it's base 16. You can, to get like the character M, you can do, I think it's 23, 2-string, base 24. We have all the characters to do that. And now we got like the character M, which we put in before. And in JavaScript, that goes all the way up to 36, allowing us to get 0 through 10 and all the lowercase numbers. So now, how do we actually execute this? We can express anything using, also, this is only like part of the execution that we're getting. Or just like this is only like part of everything. It's much longer, and all this is console.log1. So how do we actually do it? We do it very similar to how we were getting the original functions. So that anonymous function, we get the constructor, and any code that we want, we put inside the field. This allows us to execute any function we want just as a string, and we're still only using those like weird characters that we started off. So now we not only get just a string, which we saw at the top, it just returns console.log1, and then at the bottom, it's a fully fledged executable commands in JavaScript. All this, and I don't know if everyone can see that on the slides or on the stream, but that is fully executable and fully correct according to JavaScript code, and it returns 1, or console.logs 1. So why is this important? Well, like I said, it's fully executable JavaScript. The potentials for this could be cross-site scripting, because it's JavaScript. You can literally write anything you want with it, and it's completely obfuscated because I don't know about you, I can't read that. Of course, I had to make this compiler, but that makes me sad. But we can do it anyway. So it's clunky. It's very clunky. It's a couple thousand characters just to do console.log1. But nonetheless, we have it, and we can even see in the screenshot I provided. I'm not executing that in just like some kind of console. That is just from an actual JavaScript file itself that it's doing the console.log. And then a little bit further, history on this. This is not the first time anyone's ever done this. I'm not that smart, but the original makers of this called it JS expletive, and they did it much better. They were able to only express it in 6 characters. I did it in something like what is it, 9, 8? I think I can't count. Yeah, I did it a lot more, and if you ever want to check that out, it's the name of how they called it .com, and it's honestly very interesting to read about. Also, this has actually been used in the wild. eBay, I think, even to this day, still has the issue because for whatever reason they were refusing to fix it. You can make an eBay post, put this really terrible JavaScript in your description, and you can create your own prompts and stuff. And you were able to like actually fish users using this, and it was all over the news, just a little something. And also, fun part about it, making this was not fun. I put way too many hours in, and the debugs weren't what you wanted. I don't know about you, but I can't read this, especially when it like gives half of it away because it's just too long, and it just ends out with is not a function. I don't know what that means. I don't know how to fix that. Could be that I'm missing a plus sign, which, fun fact, I was missing a plus sign at one place and it was not a function. So, yeah, it's not fun. I do not recommend anyone using this to like submit like a JavaScript paper or like a lab, whatever it is. But it's definitely something interesting to know. And now you know how it actually works and how terrible it is, and why I personally don't like JavaScript, because type coercion is terrible and leads to stuff like this. And I think that's about it. Thanks all for watching, and I'll leave it off to the next person, Enzo with research. We have. Did you have a question? My GitHub link is github.com/invaderzim, esoteric JavaScript, and then, fun enough, I wrote this in Python instead of JavaScript because, well, I hate JavaScript. So I'm sure these slides are going to be posted eventually, so you can also find it there. Enzo. Yeah. Where did I? Yeah, I wrote it before you did. But yeah, this is like all these single lines that look like horribly wrong are to get like single characters. And yeah, so what do we want to do?
A manual. Spell the word a manual.
Yeah. So just to print something, if you guys are actually looking in my repository, JavaScriptify sends a string, and execute is an executable function. So if you actually want to execute anything, it's that. But so we want a manual, and of course I'm going to spell it wrong. It's not that I don't know how to spell, it's just that I suck at typing. And we get this big chunky boy. And watch, this will be the first time it doesn't work. All loads in.
Come on.
A manual.
Yeah.
So it's disgusting, but it works. Okay. Any last questions? Okay.
Wait,
Oh, Evan.
one last thing.